everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this video. We will be talking about canning green beans. So I hope you enjoy today's video. I had to make a quick run into Walmart to do a quick pickup. I was needing some canning lids and things before I got started with my green beans, so we did that really quickly, and then I picked up my green beans. I got 2 boxes from a local farmer here. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to take off both of the ends, where the bean attaches to the plant, and then as well as the tail. Now, a lot of people leave on the tail. That's totally fine if you want to do it that way. I just prefer to take it off, so whatever works for you. And Chloe is helping me this morning to get all of these broken down into smaller pieces, whatever size pieces that you want them broken down to, whatever works for you. I like to make them fairly small. They fit in the jar a little bit better that way as well. And I just do it with my fingers. I think it goes faster that way, probably just the way I was taught. But if you want to use like a scissors, some people use a knife to cut them into smaller pieces. However works the best for you will work just fine. So once we had kind of half of them done, I'm just emptying our snapped green beans into our box, and then we're going to start get these all finished up here. I think this definitely does take about the longest time to get all of these snapped and broken down. So while I'm doing this, I'm just turning on a podcast to listen to while I am getting this job done. And I love to do this to listen to something inspiring or encouraging while I am doing a task like this that takes a while. Just gives me something to think about. Now, I will be canning today with a pressure canner, and if that scares you off, definitely, yeah, you can also do like a water bath if you want to. It just takes a lot longer. There's different ways that you can go about to can green beans. I prefer a pressure canner for myself, just because it doesn't take as long, and it's what I'm used to as well, so that is what works for me. But if you do have a pressure canner and aren't quite familiar with it, I would highly recommend to go through your owner's manual, make sure you read all the instructions and are familiar with your canner before getting started, because it can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, so just a precaution there to make sure that you are familiar with your canner and that you have read the owner's instructions for your specific canner. So I went ahead and washed all of my jars in the dishwasher before packing them full of green beans. I am doing quarts this year with growing children. We are sizing up to quarts. I've been canning them in pints so far, and I have in the past year been getting 2 pints out for a meal. So it's definitely time to upsize to quarts. So the next thing that we're going to do is wash the green beans once they've all been snapped down to the correct size. So I just poured them all into the sink, and then I'll just wash them and kind of go through them again, making sure that all the bad spots are out, and get them all nice and clean. And then we'll go over this again, wash them one more time, and then put them back over into the other sink. Of course, you want to make sure that your sinks are nice and clean before you put the green beans in here, obviously. can get started packing our jars. And I'm just putting as many green beans as I can fit in there and then just packing them down with my hand, getting them nice and tight and well filled. And if you can see in the background, Weston was eating his snack and he was mimicking the banging with his cup as I was pounding down the green beans in the jar. He was doing it with his cup as well, which was kind of cute. Now that all the jars are filled, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt per jar, and this just helps with preserving as you're canning. And then next I'm also going to add a couple of these zinc tablets, and this helps to keep your green beans that nice green color as they sit on the shelves over the next year or whatever. This just helps to keep them nice and green. And then I'll be filling the jars with water, and you'll want to fill them up to the neck of the jar with water. And before we put on our lids, I'm going to go ahead and just with a wet paper towel go around and just kind of clean off the tops of the jars here, making sure there's no cracks or nicks. Make sure the tops are nice and clean before we put on our lids. And then we'll go ahead and put on our rings, making them finger tight. And to get our pressure canner ready now, so this is for my canner specifically, I'm going to put water in the bottom until it's about 2 inches of water, something like that. And I just kind of measure it really quickly with a small ruler. And then I'll go ahead and put in my jars. Now mine can hold 7 quart jars. So I'm going to put those in, and then we'll get this thing ready to go. And go ahead and put your lid on, and you'll want to make sure that this little hook here on the side is hooked securely underneath there. And then we'll close everything up, and then we will turn down these nuts on the top here, and you'll want to tighten them kind of on opposite sides of each other, if that makes sense, to make sure that it gets tightened the same way all the way around. And then once that is nice and tight, you can just let it come to a good boil. And once you hear this sound, there's lots of steam coming out. So again, look at your owner's manual to see how long the steam has to come out before you put on your pressure gauge here. And I will be doing this at 10 pounds pressure for 18 minutes. And then you'll just want to kind of monitor your canner and turn down the burner to where it should be. Once the 18 minutes are up, I'm going to turn off the burner and let it set completely still. Don't move your canner at all until it has gone down to absolutely zero pressure. Then you can take off your pressure gauge and open up your canner. So here are the green beans. We're going to just get them out. I have a tea towel here on the countertop, and then we will just set these down on the tea towel to let them rest. And then I'm just quickly measuring again how much water I have in the canner before I get my next batch started. We'll just kind of continue this process over and over again until we have all of our green beans canned. So once you have all of your green beans canned and setting out on your countertop, letting them rest, you'll want to let them rest for at least 24 to 48 hours before you move them, and then you can put them away on your canning shelves and they are ready to go. I usually do take the rings off before I put them away on the canning shelves. I hope you enjoyed today's video, coming along with me and canning some green beans, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.